What's going on, guys? It's time to finally talk about NHL 26. This is my first video on it. We're going to be looking at the possible release date, cover athlete, as well as whether or not the game will be on PC. I'm going to start off by saying some big news. The NHL 26 release date will be changing. If you guys watched my video like this last year in NHL 25, you'd remember me bringing up the shareholder meeting where they showed the release date for NHL 25. You can see there October 4th in Q3. Before that in Q2, you have all the other sport games. So college football, July 19th, Madden 25, August 16th, EA Sports FC, September 27th. Basically, they had one per month. For NHL 26, that is no longer the case. As you guys can see here, NHL 26 is in Q2. It's actually now between Madden 26 and FC 26. Now, if you guys are older than 7 years old, you'd remember that this is actually the original NHL release date. I think the most recent one was NHL 20. It came out on the second Friday of September. Same goes for NHL 19 and all the games before that. So I think they're finally reverting to the original release date. I think COVID messed some things up. That's why they got pushed to October, but we're going back to the early September release date now. College football, of course, is July. Madden there is end of August. NHL's mid-September, and then FIFA there will be end of September. And so that means for this year, I'm projecting a September 12th release date for NHL 26. Again, that's the second Friday in September, and that means with like your pre-order, early release or whatever, you'll be getting it on the Monday or the Tuesday, whatever they decide. Also too, guys, some kind of exciting news with that. Because the game's coming out 1 month earlier, we should also start seeing trailers 1 month earlier. And last year, we got the first reveal trailer for NHL 25 on August 22nd, 2024. So that means this year, we could be seeing the NHL 26 trailer as early as the end of July, which of course is, you know, a couple weeks away. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on all the EA social media as I expect that trailer to be coming pretty soon. And next year, guys, I want to talk about the possible cover athlete for NHL 26. Last year, I actually predicted it could have been the Hughes brothers. I think it'd be kind of sick if they actually had like a brothers cover. Him and Jack, maybe even Luke kind of squeaks in there. Obviously, I had a bunch of predictions, but we did nail that one. I know like a lot of people are talking about potentially Matthew Tkachuk, back-to-back Stanley Cup champion. Maybe they throw Brady on there for another brother cover, but I feel like that'd be kind of played out to do that back-to-back years. I know, too, every single year Crosby's name gets brought up, but until he retires, no way he's going to be on the cover. He's too superstitious. I do think, you know, once he does retire, saying like 2028, I do think we could maybe get like an NHL 29 Crosby legend cover, as at that point, I don't really see why he'd care about, you know, superstition if he's retired. And speaking of legends, guys, I've seen a lot of people say that it has to be Ovechkin on the cover after breaking Gretzky's goal record, but I am 99.9% sure it'll not be Ovechkin. Reason being, he's Russian. Obviously, there's still like the Ukraine-Russian war going on, so that is just not going to happen. Absolute PR nightmare. Some other names I've seen thrown out there, obviously Connor Hellebuck, back-to-back Vezina trophies. Haven't had a goalie on the cover since Martin Brodeur NHL 14. But it seems to me like EA definitely prefers skaters, so I feel like Dreisaitl's a guy maybe could get on. Same with like your Pasternak, your Jack Eichel, Nathan McKinnon even. But I personally think they always seem to prefer the younger players just like for whatever reason. I mean, the Hughes brothers aren't that old. Cale Makar, Zegras, Matthews when he's on the cover. So I actually think it could be one of the, you know, big star rookies this year in either Macklin Celebrini or Lane Hutson. I feel like they both, you know, made some names for themselves. Celebrini, very marketable, you know, in California. Obviously, Lane Hutson playing for the Montreal Canadiens just won the Calder Trophy. So like I was saying, there's a bunch of different possibilities here. Personally, if I had to put my money on it, I would go Macklin Celebrini. I just think like he's all over social media, you know, Canadian, but he plays in California. He seems like the kind of guy they'd want to put on the cover, but obviously time will tell. And then finally here, guys, I wanted to talk about NHL 26 potentially being on PC. Looking at some like new updates, I just do not think it's going to happen. Kind of like OV being on the cover, I said 99% no chance. I'm thinking NHL 26 on PC, 99% no chance. College Football 26 just came out. It is not on PC, and it's a much bigger game. And then if you look at like a smaller EA game that's kind of more relatable to NHL in size, that would be UFC. And the most recent UFC game is also not on PC. Obviously, both FIFA and Madden are, but they're like, you know, their biggest games. So unfortunately for any PC fans, I get this question a lot. I think NHL 26, again, isn't going to happen. Obviously, you can play it on PC with like Game Pass and some other stuff, but in terms of like, you know, its own PC version, I think you're going to have to keep waiting. So that's going to do it, guys, for this video. Obviously, the big news there is the change in release date for NHL 26. And like I said, you know, fingers crossed, we're actually seeing our first trailer in a couple weeks. And you guys know once that drops, I will be doing a breakdown for you. But until then, hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, leave that thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a nice day. Goodbye.